We have all felt the pressure of rising cost of living, groceries, gas, clothing, and especially real estate. With higher home prices and interest rates, buying a home can feel out of reach for a lot of people. But, my friends, there is a strategy that not a lot of folks are talking about: buying a duplex. It's one of the smartest ways to get started in real estate and offset your living expenses. Basically, this is a hidden gem of a strategy in today's market. Hi guys, I'm Daphne Corey, your boss lady realtor here in Austin, Texas. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a home anywhere in the Austin metro area, contact me. My contact information is in the description below. We can even set up a direct one-on-one video call. Just follow the link in the description. And if you're watching this video from any other part of the US or the Americas and need to buy or sell a home where you might be, reach out, because I do have fantastic realtor partners all over the Americas that are ready, willing, and able to help. So with that, let's begin. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you are either thinking about buying your first home or you're thinking about buying a multifamily property. Let's jump in and start talking about who the strategy could be really good for. This strategy is really good for people that are investment minded and understand that real estate is a long game. Two, this is for people that understand that you might have to make some concessions in order to move forward down the line. I will say that buying a multifamily home, especially in Austin, is not glamorous, but the best investments are rarely sexy. Three, this strategy is perfect for anyone who is willing to sacrifice a bit of comfort and luxury in order to grow the real estate portfolio. So if you're still with me after that, thank you. And I've got more valuable information for you. Let's go. So let's start off with some very basic items. What is a duplex, or what is a multifamily property? Let's start with a simple duplex. Basically, it is two homes under one roof. That's it. A lot of times people will say like a townhome or a condo and they'll think that's a duplex or a multifamily home. That's not. A condo is when you own one unit. A duplex is when you own both of them. So one property for you as a homeowner under one little or sometimes big roof. I will say that in Austin, most multifamily properties are not luxury unless they are brand new. And if they are brand new, of course, that's going to come with a price tag. Most multifamily homes in Austin tend to be kind of clustered together in multifamily communities. I know that in other parts of the country, you might have like a residential neighborhood with single family homes and then one or two duplexes scattered throughout. That doesn't really exist in Austin for whatever reason. There are actual neighborhoods where you will exclusively find duplexes or fourplexes for whatever reason. I personally live in a duplex, and it's something that has allowed me a lot of flexibility and a lot of growth with my real estate portfolio, and live very comfortably, and it has been such a cool way to invest in real estate. But when I first bought my duplex, it was an absolute disaster and it needed a lot of work. I think a lot of multifamily properties in Austin are that way. It's rare that you see one that's really nice and super ready to go. And my best guess for this is that multifamily homes used to be really inexpensive. So investors would scoop them up, they would buy a whole bunch of them and then rent them out at a really low rate. And there wasn't a lot of maintenance and there wasn't a lot of care. So these multifamily homes were just not very well cared for and a lot of times super run down. Now, when we see them on the market, a lot of times they are sold, I don't want to say at a discount because they're not cheap necessarily, but they're a lot of times cheaper than a single family home would be, mostly because they need work and they need a bit of love in order really to make them pop. So let's talk about the money part and why a duplex or multifamily home is most attractive. I think really the most obvious point is just the fact that you can have your tenant pay a portion of your mortgage. Back in the day, it used to be that your tenant could pay all of your mortgage, but unfortunately, because interest rates and property taxes are so high, that's no longer the case. However, if you buy a duplex, like I said, you can have your tenant pay a portion of the mortgage, live in it for a couple of years, and eventually move out, have another tenant move in, and eventually have both of the tenants pay all of your mortgage and hopefully cash flow to some degree. A lot of times I'll get clients that want to invest in Austin and they are all about the cash flow. And unfortunately, that doesn't really happen here very much because, again, home prices are high and property taxes are high as well. However, we do have pretty consistent appreciation. And yes, our real estate market, like any other market, is up and down. But if you're buying any property and plan to hold onto it for 10 plus years, you're going to be in a really good spot long term. So let's break this down with an example home. I also want to talk to you about example financing. I'm a huge fan of people using an FHA loan in order to buy multifamily property. I'm going to get a little bit granular, but You guys are smart, so I think you can follow along. And if there's anything that you don't understand, please leave a comment and I would be more than happy to dive in even deeper with all the little details. Some of the most common forms of financing that we have for a home purchase are conventional financing, FHA, VA loan, etc. Those are kind of the main three. The majority of my clients buy homes with a conventional loan, which is one of the strongest loan products out in the market, I guess you could say. So here's some back-end information to help you understand the point I'm about to make. If you are a regular investor and you are buying a multifamily property as for investment only and you don't plan to live in it, you would have to finance the purchase with a conventional loan. If you are buying a multifamily property with a regular conventional loan as an investor and as an investor only and do not plan to live in it, you would need to put down 20 to 25% of the value of that home. So for example, let's say you're buying a duplex and the price is $600,000, your down payment would be $150,000, which is a lot of money. Now the magic happens when you choose to utilize an FHA loan. FHA regulations allow you to buy multifamily property with as little as 3.5% down. So let's do the math. Let's say $600,000 times 3.5%. That brings it to $21,000, which is a great way to enter an appreciating asset for very little down. Now, of course, $21,000, that's not chump change, but it's not 150 grand. Another workaround that I actually do think is worth mentioning is buying a multifamily property with a conventional loan as an owner occupant, and that would require you to bring a down payment of 5% down, which again, significantly better than a 25% down payment. So let's make these numbers more tangible. I found an example duplex in Northwest Austin that I think is a great representation of the style of home that you can find throughout Austin. I chose this one because it is actually move-in ready. You don't have to remodel it in order to live in it, but there is room to do some upgrades if you so choose. However, it is pretty much ready as is. Also, one of the two units is already rented out for about $2,100 a month, and the other one is vacant, so you can live in it. So for this example, I wanna hop on my favorite mortgage calculator, mortgagecalculator.org. It has a pretty antiquated interface, but honestly, it's one of the more accurate mortgage calculators that I've seen. So let's go with this one. So let's be conservative in our numbers and say that we can get it for $680,000. Down payment of 3.5% because we're going FHA. Interest rate of 6.5%. Loan term 30 years. Property taxes are going to be about $8,000 a year on this home. PMI, private mortgage insurance, that will be necessary. All FHA loans require you to have private mortgage insurance. If you don't know what that means, let me know. I could basically do another video about mortgage insurance alone. Home insurance will be hovering right around $2,500 a year. There's no HOA. Usually these multifamily properties don't have an HOA. All right, let's calculate. Ooh, woof. That's a high payment, and I'm laughing because it's not funny. That's why I'm laughing. Okay, so our payment comes to roughly $5,300 a month. However, that is slightly offset by the fact that you have a tenant that's paying $2,100 a month. Now, the reason I chose this particular duplex for a couple of reasons. I'm a big fan of the location. Also, it is zoned for one of the higher rated elementary schools. It's zoned for Hill Elementary, which will help your appreciation and it will help this home hold its value. Now, let's be totally transparent. We were talking about the price of this home and the monthly payment, and it's high. $5,300 a month for a house payment is significantly higher than it was even a couple of years ago. What I think is important to note is that if you are looking for a home in this area, pricing for a single family home is going to be very similar. So yes, you would get your single family home. However, that $5,400 a month payment would fall completely on you as a homeowner. The beauty of these multifamily homes is that you can move out at some point and eventually have somebody else take over the payment and build equity with someone else's money. And that is the name of the game. One hesitation that I hear people mention a lot is the fact that they just don't want to be dealing with tenants. They don't want to be dealing with a headache of maintenance of a home, etc. I mean, that's valid. Tenants can be a pain, and sometimes tenants don't take care of a home. However, a couple things to keep in mind. Texas has rental laws that are very much swayed in the favor of a landlord. An eviction can happen very quickly. It's not like California or New York where the tenant literally has all the power and they can stay in a property for years without paying anything. The way that the eviction process is set up in Texas allows a property owner to evict a tenant in as quickly as a week. I think kind of on the longer end of things, you're talking about maybe 6 to 8 weeks or so. The other thing that I have found in my experience as a landlord renting out my properties is that if you price the rental slightly above market, you will get a higher quality tenant. The higher quality tenant is going to take better care of it because they will obviously value it as their own home, and they will let you know pretty quickly if there's something wrong with the home that needs to be addressed or if there's maintenance, etc. Those are the best kinds of tenants, and they are out there. You just have to know the right questions to ask and the right strategies to move forward in order to get them into your property. When I bought my first house in 2016, I used a strategy called house hacking. It was a 4-bedroom home. I rented out 3 of the extra bedrooms, and that basically covered the mortgage, and I was able to save up money to buy more property down the line. So guys, if you've watched this video all the way to the end, congratulations. That means you're investment minded and you're really thinking forward and thinking ahead for the future. I love working with people that like to think outside the box and like to get creative with options to invest in real estate. It feels risky, it can feel scary, and I always feel like the most expensive time to buy is now, whatever now is. Anyway, guys, it was a lot of information. I would love to do another video like this. Maybe I can break down how I purchased my duplex and all the work that went into it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Daphne Quaig, your boss lady realtor. Till next time, bye.